Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Our dear friend, Sheikh Ghassan Manasra, at the insistence of his friends and family, is taking, are you ready? A day off. Yes, yes. It shows that righteous persistence does bring just reward, and the insistence of his wife as well. So he said, "Oh, please apologize to everybody." I said, "Everybody's going to be very happy that you're finally doing something." I don't know if you realize it, but he's constantly throughout the night on the phone with Israel and Gaza. Because of the time difference, most of the phone calls occur on the eastern U.S. In the evening till 3 or 4 in the morning. And then he grabs a couple of hours rest.
Yeah.
But, we always hear about people working for peace. Well, he's really working. He's really doing the work. And he said that he always gets so much energy just by being on the call with all of us. So on behalf of Sheikh Ghassan, I want to thank all of us, all of you, for showing up, smiling in a time that's a difficult time. I speak with a lot of people, and everybody asks me, "Well, how are you feeling?" And I tell them the truth, that it's very difficult, it's very painful, that it's not all love and light. And what's nice for me about a crisis like this, which is so fundamentally threatening, is that it gives me a chance to not only look at my so-called spiritual being, but to look at my own psychology and to see, well, how am I as a human being psychologically handling this crisis? Because I remember my teacher, Pir Vilayat Khan, would always speak about spiritual bypass. And spirituality is not to bypass the struggle. It's not to rise above it. We're here to rise above limitation so that we can keep feeling a fuller and fuller experience of God. But we're still in the body. We're still here. We still have impressions that we've incarnated with. And it's good, I think, this is my belief, it's helpful to look at our psychological ego relationship with this struggle and to see, well, how am I handling this? How am I doing? How am I really absorbing that Dvorah, who's a friend, this beautiful woman lost her son. Most of you were on the other day when she was on. And he was one of the first casualties of the war, by the way. And how is it knowing that other friends of mine in Israel have lost dear, close friends? How is my mind dealing with it? How is my heart? And it's healthy to ask, I believe, ask these questions. Not just say, well, it's all in God's hands. We know it's all in God's hands. But for the moment, we are the eyes and the ears and the hands through which the infinite is experiencing this finite world. From the plane of the infinite, it's all oneness and it's all good. But from the depth of our individual incarnation, it's good to examine. It's good to take a look. So, if you don't mind, and if you mind, you don't have to do it. Let's take just 2 minutes of silence and take a look at ourselves. See, are we avoiding looking at this? Are we really seeing the depth of this difficulty? And just to be clear, war in Ukraine, I put them all together. There's a level of violence and wasteful destruction that is common. And there are wars in Sudan and other places on the planet. But let's see how, as an individual human being, how am I coping with this? So I'm going to set the timer and we can begin. Use the power of your concentration. You don't have to get answers, but ask the right questions. And all of the answers are in our feeling nature, often in our subconscious. Take a little time and look to see if you're practicing avoidance, if you're not looking at this at all. All right. Come on back and open your eyes. I would urge you to really keep doing this, keep taking a look. And look at the sociological implications too. What are these wars doing to our society? Globally. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to walk around depressed or perpetually blocking joy. These are difficulties in our worlds, but it doesn't help us or the world if we stay in a state of shadow, of darkness. But at the same time, it's tragic. So we need to somehow individually create a balance between what's going on that is really tragic. There's no doubt about that, and incredibly wasteful. We need to create a balance between that and remembering that we are still all children of the infinite and experiencing the peace and the joy that that knowledge offers us. So it's Sunday morning, forgive my sermonette, but I think it's really valuable to look at these things. It really is. To be a responsible member of our human family. So today, we are very happy to hear from someone who's been a very dear friend of mine for, I won't, maybe 5 decades, a long time, I know that. And she's been on the call every day and is a Murshida, a real teacher of inner spirituality and living in the world. So, Kismet, dear, can I use Ghassan's words? It's yours.
Thank you, Shalvadine. Yeah, it says 1974, so you can figure out the time. Anyway, let's begin by closing our eyes just a few more minutes. Not really minutes, but breathe in and out SALAAM in your heart. Just begin by breathing SALAAM in on the breath and out on the breath. You can close your eyes or not, just whatever works for you. But be thinking about peace. And if you'd like, you can keep your eyes closed. I'm going to say a prayer that was given to us by Pirzia for peace. We affirm that race, religion, and nationality cannot separate our shared beating heart. We affirm that our heart seeks peace and unity with the one heart to which we all belong. We affirm our solidarity in pursuit of peace. We affirm that the flow of the same force that moves through the universe moves through all our blood and all our hearts. And we vow to rise above the distraction illusions of forgetfulness and live in awareness. We send a prayer that all beings will come together in the beginning being through which flows peace, peace, peace throughout the world. And another small prayer from Pirzia. By your hand of protection, may bodies and minds be saved from harm. May every danger be averted. May hardness of hearts be softened. May hostilities cease. May the spirit of kinship flow. May enmity be abandoned. May peace and freedom prevail in every land. Amen. And open your eyes. SALAAM, SALAAM, SALAAM. Thank you.
Thank you, Kismet. I would like, if we can, to do a little exercise now. And I'm going to give my standard instruction about whispering. This is whispering. This is talking softly. This is whispering. For this, we need to whisper. And what I'm going to ask everybody to whisper, and everybody can unmute. Chris, if you give everybody permission to unmute. We're going to whisper, each of us, our own prayer for peace. A prayer that naturally arises from your heart, individually, and we'll do this together. It's a powerful practice. Nobody will hear you. You'll be whispering. Hopefully, you'll be whispering. Don't think it out in advance. Just let it come. Let it flow. Let it be. Are we ready?
Yes.
Make sure you're unmuted. Make sure you whisper. And let's begin.
Lord,
Please give peace to everyone. Please make everyone's heart soft so that they may be peace and they be all together in harmony. May our planet be filled with joy and light, and may love abide in everyone. May peace and love all of the planet pervade. May the sadness and pain disappear from all beings, that they may be happy, and may live in peace with their neighbors, and may do what they need to do
May all beings be well. May all be Thank you. Well, we almost got everybody whispering. That's a big step forward. So, in London is going to share with us now. He's a member of the Abrahamic Reunion Board and has been an activist and worker for peace within and without government for many, many decades. Michael, please.
Thanks very much. And Kismet, thank you for that wonderful prayer. These vigils for me, as Shahabdin and other people have noted, for me have been this great source of strength. And it's really all of you who I look forward to every day that I can be here. Because when I reflect on how I'm affected, there are moments where I'm just so sad or so angry. I don't even want to be with myself. But then I see all of you, and I listen, and I feel the resilience and the sense of joy in the midst of this great pain. And so to all of you, I'm just so grateful. And I also have an invitation. What I'd like to invite you is to participate in a new effort for peace that we're going to launch. I think it's so important that we invite other people beyond the 108 of us today to experience the power of peace and to experience the effect of focusing on peace. So what we're proposing is that everyone agree to act for peace on December 22nd, which is the solstice. Now, what does that mean? It could be reaching out to whatever community you belong to, a congregation, to ask that a service be held. It could be inviting friends over to read poems of peace. It could be doing, actually, as we're kind of walking this idea around, I reached out to someone who is a mentor of mine, Rabbi Herschel Gluck. And I said, Herschel, we have this idea. What do you think? And he goes, well, he wrote me back. He said, Michael, ask everybody to do something kind for someone they know on that day. So I said, okay, we'll include that. But it can be no more than putting a candle in your window on the night of the 21st to the 22nd. Now, why that time? In the Northern Hemisphere, it's the longest night of the year. And the 22nd is the first day that the light begins to return. Now, this is a traditional time for the celebration of light and of peace. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the longest night of the year. And it's the beginning of a time of repose.
Longest day of the year.
Longest day of the year. Thanks. The longest day of the year. Thanks very much. It's the longest.
Me.
Oh no, jump right in. Also, it's a time of traditional celebration. Certainly, there's Hanukkah, the Festival of Light, which runs from the 7th to the 15th of December this year. Christmas on the 25th. Gita Jayanti, which in Hinduism falls on the 22nd of December, and it's a celebration of the Bhagavad Gita. Bodhi Day in Buddhism, December 8th. There are all these times, but we figure that the 22nd, and if we reach out to people and ask people to make a commitment, we've begun talking to congregations, we've talked to For example, the United Baha'i Congregation in the UK, who I think will join in with us, but we'll reach out to every congregation, every community organization that I can think of, and I would invite all of you, so that on that day people have that experience of peace, because so often we're attracted to the activity of discord and conflict, and because it's kinetic. But peace is creative. Peace is what has built everything. I may have mentioned this before, but sometimes people say, what does peace do? You know, and I said, well, step outside. Every plant has grown up because of peace. Every building that's been built, every city, every home is the product of peace. Every family that has been able to raise its children, every parent who's been able to raise a child, that process is the product of peace. And I think it's good for me to be reminded of that. And I think it's also incredibly empowering for people to embrace the unbelievable power of peace, which is much greater and much more powerful than that of conflict. But now I think the challenge is to provide opportunities for everyone we know to participate in that. And it can be very simple. Like I said, no more than putting a candle in a window. And then people say, what's that candle for? Well, it's for peace. Do I have to join anything? No. Do I have to donate anywhere? No. Do I have to sign up to any ism? No. There's nothing. As Joe Miller used to say, there's nothing to join. There's no place to give any money to. And we can just invite people to experience even just a moment of the power of peace. And it will be like throwing a pebble in a pond. I think it's hard to imagine how powerful those ripples can be when they become waves. And I know it's important to me to be able to share with all of you and to experience your commitment and your experience of the power of peace. And I would invite all of us to reach out to people and encourage them to participate in that. And so we'll put up a website and we'll start listing people and ask people to sign up, not to belong to anything other than to commit themselves on that day, on that night, to just thinking about peace. It doesn't even have to be peace anywhere. This has no politics. It's just peace, which is just kind of everything. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Michael. So the website should be going up tomorrow or the next day. And I think it's Solstice Prayer, I believe. I don't remember, but I'm sure Chris will let us all know tomorrow as soon as I find out what the name is. Oh, there it is, solsticepeace.org. You know, as I've said many times, a few people working in unison can uplift the consciousness of the whole planet. And we can be part of those few people as seeds. And we don't have to do anything else but keep being seeds, and peace will sprout. Others will join. People will wake up and realize, no, maybe this is just what we really need, what we really need. So we'll get the information out. I think that one can start the night before the 22nd, which is traditional in the East to start the holiday or the event the night before. And we're trying, and this is just one idea. And of course, if you have more ideas, more thoughts, just go and do them. You know, you don't need permission. You don't need an organization. Just what's the famous bumper sticker? Random acts of kindness. We can do random acts of peace. And if we know it, if I know it, I know that that knowledge within me will spread to others, because we really are all connected. We're really living in one reality, even though our individual realities might be so different. So, thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for being you and taking time to do this day after day. Of course, my prayer is that we can end these vigils. Maybe we'll meet for other reasons, but we can end this because these wars have got to stop. It's enough. It's really enough. So, blessings and love to everybody. Ghassan, I hope, he says he's coming back tomorrow. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's having such a good time that he says, well, I'm not going to come back. But we'll see. Love to all. Peace to all. Spread the word. Spread the heart. See you tomorrow. Thank you.